Hey everyone, for my behavior change project, I did the effects of response blocking on object mouthing. My client is a 3-year-old male diagnosed with ASD. He was diagnosed by Kaiser in October 2015. He's not enrolled in school, and he spends the majority of his time at home with his mother, father, and older sister. His family is from Nepal, and English is the second language in their household. He receives 45 minutes of speech a week, as well as 6 hours of ABA therapy. The 6 hours are conducted over 3 2-hour sessions. 2 of these sessions are at the ABA clinic, while the third is at his house. 2 of his sessions are one-on-one with just me and him, while 1 session a week is with the BCBA on the case. He's been receiving services for about 4 weeks. He can talk, but rarely chooses to. His behaviors range from tantrums that can last for hours, to throwing objects, to aggression, and mouthing objects that are inedible. And that was the behavior that I decided to focus on due to the possibility of him starting school and just the social relevance of that behavior. The mouthing of objects is defined as any time my client, breaks the plane of his lips with a non-edible item. An example of that would be putting a Lego into his mouth. For my baseline data, it was recorded using frequency as well as intervention, both frequency, and it was for a 1.5-hour session because the last 30 minutes of each session were used for recording data and updating graphs. The baseline data was recorded by me as well as the BCBA the BCBA on the case who recorded IOA twice a week during each phase. So twice during the baseline phase, twice during the intervention phase, twice during the reversal, and twice during the intervention phase again. So I used an AB design. Um, she would go 1 time at the house and 1 time at the clinic, the BCBA each week. IOA was recorded by comparing the instances of mouthing objects collected by both myself and her, and then dividing the smaller amount of instances by the larger amount, and then multiplying that by 100. Inter-IOA agreement remained at 100% throughout this study. Treatment fidelity was collected by the BCBA during 40% of the intervention sessions. It was recorded at 100% during these sessions. So during baseline, there was no blocking of object mouthing unless became an issue, which we didn't have any instances of. The client has never actually swallowed anything, so we did not have that concern yet. And baseline was taken for 5 sessions, 4 in the clinic and 1 in the home. Intervention was 5 sessions, 3 in the clinic and 2 at home. A return to baseline was recorded for 5 sessions, 3 in the clinic and 2 at home, followed by 5 more sessions of intervention, 4 in the clinic and 1 at home. Due to the client starting school and the family deciding to end services, we were not able to do any generalization or maintenance. So during the intervention stage, we started with response blocking paired with the statement "not in your mouth," and towards the end of the intervention stage, we noticed my client would put the object in his mouth and then say "not in mouth," so we decided to remove that for the second intervention phase. So the second intervention phase was strictly just response blocking. We found that during the first baseline phase, Tony mouthed a non-edible object on an average of 28.2 times per 1.5 hour long session. During the first intervention phase, using response blocking paired with the phrase "not in your mouth," his mouthing decreased from 28.2 times to 8 times per session, which was very good results for us. During the removal of intervention, so the second baseline phase, it increased back to 23.6 times per 1.5 hour session. And with the reintroduction of just response blocking, without the phrase "not in your mouth," his object mouthing once again decreased from 23.6 times to 5.4 times per session. And then I think some things that need to be done was to better help this study would be a larger sample size, as well as the option for maintenance and generalization. Thanks, everybody.